Greetings, all you tangled whisperers out there. I'm Duuz-Diz-Din, and I'm back with another Sonic the Hedgehog Tangle and Whisper miniseries issue review. This time it's issue 3 titled Betrayal, where we go more in depth into the backstory of Whisper the Wolf, the guardian angel of the Resistance. So, after nearly being blown up by our mysterious adversary, Tangle thinks that it's time for her to finally learn more about the ever elusive Mimic. Whisper is very reluctant to do this, as it's bitter, horrible memories, but it needs to be told if she's ever to finally settle things with Mimic the Octopus. They originally came from a group called the Diamond Cutters, led by Smithy, who crafted their weapons. Whisper was the scout, always on the lookout. Slinger, the marksman, very much based off of Revolver Ocelot. Clairvoyance, the psyops, able to predict certain situations and give them the best direction to go into, and Mimic, the infiltrator, able to disguise himself and go into certain situations and give them a bit of an edge. It's actually a brilliantly made team, all things considered. Very cool. They each had their own Wisp ally that Whisper now wields. So, all things considered, it was a great setup, and it's very much kind of based off of the old Archie series' Freedom Fighters teams, where you just had these teams that had these setups, they had these gimmicks, they all worked together in weird, interesting ways, but to see it go in this direction is also fairly interesting. Although the fact that Whisper squints has never really been fully fleshed out why it's like that. But they were a mercenary team that took on dangerous missions. They all had their various masks, they all had their various setups, they worked great together. They would go in, infiltrate Eggman's bases, take them down, quick, fast, and in a hurry, and get out of there before anything massive could go down. We also come to find out that through the use of their masks, they could actually communicate with the Wisp. That's why the Wisp were partners and not so much, just tools for the teams. These were allies out to actually do for the greater good, because the Wisp, they stayed on Sonic's world in order to help out, to improve the lives of Sonic and all his various friends and his community and all that good stuff. So it's always good to see the incorporation of these characters. And honestly, I wish Sega would branch out more and do more, because, despite the fact that it never works out that great sometimes, see the Deadly Six, it's still nice to see new elements incorporated into Sonic's world at every turn possible. But Whisper talks about the fact that Smithy was a genius designer. He made the weapons, he made the tech, and he had this experimental prototype which was able to cycle through all the Wisps all at once, everyone's Wisp. And he had that in the process, I guess, just in case, one of the team wasn't available, they could at least still use their abilities to the best of what they could do. But, Whisper is under the impression that she's alone, but she's never really alone. And finding out more information about what exactly happened to the Diamond Cutters would do wonders to help Tangle fully get into the headspace of this situation. She's still kind of playing around, she's still kind of new, but if she understood everything and understood what to expect from Mimic, she'd be better prepared for it. When Tangle asks Whisper if she still has the footage from the day the Diamond Cutters fell, Whisper reluctantly decides to show the whole situation. Namely, that Mimic had put out this situation about about a specific base outright. He kind of set them up in this situation. And While everyone was willing to go all in, Claire kind of had a bad feeling about this, and I wish they had followed this through a little bit more. She kind of figures something was up, so she asked Whisper to hang back a little bit. So they went in, they infiltrated, Mimic went off disguised as one of the egg pawns, and they infiltrated what seemed to be this whole pod system of the shadow androids. Which I always thought that was situation was completely struck by Eggman from back in Sonic Heroes, back when we had that whole question and mystery of, ooh, is Shadow really an android or not? And this actually explains Whisper's animosity towards Shadow at first, because it's just that reminder, because this was the day the Diamond Cutters fell, overwhelmed by a barrage of the Shadow androids. And it's actually kind of terrifying. All these creatures just slowly approaching in on the Diamond Cutters, and you see it from their point of view as they were slowly overwhelmed. And it's just like, yo, that's really grim, but that's Ian Flint's writing in a nutshell. He can be very grim when he needs to be, and in this situation, he very much was. And we see Mimic's playback as well when he reported to Dr. Eggman. And, it was pretty obvious that Mimic's Wisp was not down with any of this situation. It's just like, yo, what the hell? So he left Mimic wholesale. But Eggman, informs Mimic that, oh, well, you said there were 5 of you in total. Why is it that only 3 targets were taken down? Mimic immediately knows that it had to be Whisper, and he promises, through fear of death, that, he'll take care of the whole situation. So he comes out dressed as, I'm still going to call him Revolver Ocelot, but it's pretty obvious that Whisper had vacated the situation and was long gone. However, Whisper had actually been hiding nearby, and it was pretty obvious that she had abandoned her weapon, and he felt that she would be no longer a threat, that he would take her device back to Eggman as proof, and he should be able to just go about his easy life from here on out. But Whisper, went in, was led by the Cube Wisp that Mimic used to own in order to the site of the of everything that went down, and we don't see any bodies, but it's pretty obvious what happened. Tangle is completely just taken off guard by this. It's just like, why would you hold on to something so grim? But it's Whisper's intent to never forget and to never forgive. And so she actually, went about fighting the good fight with the prototype weapon, helping out the resistance where she could and when she could. And, she ended up with the name Guardian Angel, which she, wasn't originally down for. But, Tangle questions why Whisper wouldn't just, outright just, ask for some help on this. There are so many heroes out there in the world, but Whisper wasn't about potentially getting close to someone and losing more friends. But Tangle says, look, you're my friend too, and we've got each other's back. Especially against a creep like this, we need each other more than ever. And Tangle is all in to get that payback because she's all emotion. She has this great sense of empathy, and seeing what Whisper went through, she is doubly ready to take this Mimic jerk down. And Whisper gives in to the fact that she can't be discouraged in this situation, that Tangle feels that her positive energy is what Whisper needs in this trying time, especially with Mimic doing all the damage that he is doing. And, in a show of gratitude, Whisper actually hugs her. A first little bit of contact that she's genuinely had in years. Well, a year. few months. I keep forgetting that Sonic Forces, was the span of a year, from start to finish in total. So, but Mimic goes to the explosion site where he thought he did the deed. I like the fact that he seems to be on the Sky Cycle, which I think what you call it, Knack had. Or Tails, I'm not sure. It looks like one of those sky cycles with the drill on it. And I remember seeing this from, was it Tails' Sky Patrol? Maybe. But Eggman is very adamant about having definitive proof that Whisper has been taken care of, because she has become a bigger problem than the Diamond Cutters were altogether. And so he is determined to have things settled, that this is the opportunity for him to prove that he can get the job done, or he'll be coming after Mimic next. But Mimic gets to the explosion site and he finds that, oh, it seems they managed to survive. And Eggman is pissed, like, what kind of assassin are you, dude? But Mimic notices that, these tracks in the dirt, they seem to be very deliberate, and he's led to a specific location where a message has been written that they will end this where it all started. And Mimic is all too ready to take down his former ally. Next issue, we have the final showdown, and this series has been so good, so amazing. Artwork wise, of course. Story wise, definitely. Character wise, beautiful. I love the empathy that Tangle shows. The backstory into the Diamond Cutters was very brutal, and honestly, seeing how well they worked together as a team, like they weren't just slapped together last minute to show off, is like, no, there was a deliberate purpose behind these characters and how they all function. But it still just didn't, it still doesn't quite gel with me how Mimic betrayed them. Like, I feel like maybe he had shown his cowardice in the end or something along those lines. But we also have to take into account, we don't know what a lot of these characters were doing before the whole showdown with Eggman went down. For all we know, Mimic was always a bit of a sleazeball from jump, and this was just him showing his true colors in the end. But it's also nice to see Eggman employing mercenaries. That was always kind of a thing from time to time in the old Archie series. Eggman would employ the likes of Knack the Weasel or Bean and Bark here and there, just to take down various adversaries here, there, and other places. But they were usually always failures, but it's just like, at the same time, it's not like his robots did much better in a lot of situations. So it's just kind of like, you get what you pay for. And in the end, he usually never paid because they usually never got the job done. But tell me your thoughts, feelings, and theories in the comment section below. How did you feel about this backstory? Did you enjoy seeing the Diamond Cutters? And do you wish they had managed to survive in order to come back later down the line? It's not like we saw a body, but come on, this is a kid's series. Of course we're not going to see somebody's dead body in this series. But do you enjoy Mimic as a villain? Do you enjoy the team up of Whisper and Tangle? And how did you feel about her being even more determined to help Whisper out in this showdown with her massive adversaries? Tell me your thoughts, theories, and feelings in the comment section below. Subscribe and hit the bell icon, that way you never miss out on another Sonic the Hedgehog, Tangle, and Whisper issue reviews, since there's only one more left, but there's also still the rest of the IDW Sonic the Hedgehog series, so check out my reviews of that as well. And until next time, I have been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye bye.